The college football regular season is over. The conference championship games are set. Rivalry weekend has concluded. Didn't give us too much excitement, but didn't give us too much heartbreak as well for some teams. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of College Football Under Review, a show made by a football fan for football fans everywhere. And we've got our Week 14 recap episode. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps us know that you enjoy the content, and it helps us out, and you want to be a part of the Under Review community. But some of the headlines from this weekend is obviously, first off, the Lane Train is heading to Baton Rouge as he is going to be the next head coach for the LSU Tigers, and the whole Ole Miss deal is kind of getting a little ugly. And then Auburn also hires Alex Golesh from USF after their loss to Alabama last night. And Duke, they are making the ACC Championship game as a 7-5 team. It's pretty wild. And then the Mountain West has a four-way tie for the conference championship game. Texas A&M's perfect season was ruined by Texas on Friday. And then Ohio State caps off a dominant 12-0 season with a win over Michigan, breaking their 4-year losing streak against them in the game. But as always, before we go and take college football under review, we're going to take 38 Hot Tubs under review and share a little bit about them. 38 Hot Tubs is a family-owned and American-built business supplying Viking tubs that feature high-quality material and superior components, ensuring that every aspect of the hot tub is designed to last for years to come. When it comes to relaxation, recovery, and overall well-being, few things compare to the soothing experience of a high-quality hot tub. And for Rob Abel, it's all about helping people improve their health and quality of life. Whether you're an athlete looking for muscle recovery or someone who simply wants to unwind after a long day, soaking in a hot tub can provide numerous benefits. The ideal combination of warm water and hydrotherapy jets can ease tension and lower cortisol levels to help combat anxiety. A hot tub even promotes better blood flow, which leads to better muscle recovery, reduced soreness, and improved flexibility, combined with overall cardiovascular health improvements. Even a nighttime soak can improve sleep quality by relaxing the body and mind before bed. So if you're interested in experiencing the therapeutic benefits of a Viking spa, reach out to Rob Abel today. And if you mention this ad to Rob, your journey to relaxation and wellness starts with a $200 discount off one spa and $600 for an order of two. 38 Hot Tubs, whether you're looking for relief from sore muscles, a way to enhance your fitness routine, or simply a place to relax with family and friends, Rob is here to help you find the perfect hot tub to fit your needs. And now let's take college football under review. The first game, Georgia at Georgia Tech. Technically, it was at Georgia Tech, but Georgia Tech apparently has a deal with the Mercedes-Benz Dome to at least host some games there. But Georgia comes out with an ugly win, 16-9 over 23 Georgia Tech. And this Georgia Tech team came into the season very hot. They came into it what we all thought was a great win against Clemson, really was just an average win against an average team. And the Georgia Tech team has had glimpses of not being just average, but only above average. And I feel like that above average mentality has finally caught up to them. They had multiple chances to win this game. Haynes King just threw a late interception, and they had the chance to tie it up with a Hail Mary, but Georgia just was too much for them, and they were able to get this win. I just feel like the Georgia Tech season, the first half of the season, it was all them, all ACC. They were riding high, and then they just kind of fizzled out. It wasn't like they just didn't feel like they were ready to finish the season. They didn't have the mentality to finish their season. But for Georgia, even though they didn't play a great game, they still have all the momentum going for them into the SEC Championship, as I still believe that they are kind of peaking in performance at the right time, which is what you want from a team like Georgia. It is a team that hasn't been as good as we've seen from Kirby Smart, but the team plays better, I think, behind the quarterback, Gunnar Stockton, than they did behind Carson Beck. And I think Gunnar Stockton gives them a better chance to win overall. And that's what happened in this game. Gunnar Stockton, he just overall was the more sound quarterback, made fewer mistakes, and they were able to win the game because of that. And going back to Georgia Tech and talking about Haynes King, I think the biggest question from this game for me is how will Haynes King be remembered in Georgia Tech lore? They've got Aaron Philo right behind him. He's a very good, very capable quarterback. So will Haynes King be forgotten? I don't think so. I think his highlight reel will still be watched, though I think in the echelon of Georgia Tech fans, he will always be remembered. But I think he will slowly fizzle out like their season did this year, as they just had all the reason, all the chances, all the momentum to make the ACC Championship, and they fell short. And that's kind of the way Georgia Tech football has been the last couple of seasons. So Georgia beats Georgia Tech 16-9. Georgia going to the SEC Championship. Georgia Tech, I guess, have fun at the Birmingham Bowl again this season. And so that then takes us to Texas A&M and Texas. Texas A&M loses, and number 16 Texas beats number 3 Texas A&M 27-17. Ironically enough, with Texas A&M losing this game, I think they might be in a better position for the playoffs by not going to the SEC Championship. And you may say, well, why is that? They get a bye. Yes, well, everyone last season in the playoffs lost when they had a bye. All the bye teams lost. And Texas A&M gets the opportunity to host a college football playoff game at home. And I think they would much rather take that first game in the first round. But we'll see how their rankings are, because if they're fifth, maybe they sneak into the top 4 and get a bye. But I think Texas A&M is in a better position with not going to the SEC Championship the way Marcel Reed looked hurt. So they give them a whole another week to rest, and they have the opportunity for a home playoff game to kind of get the wheels back in motion from taking a couple of weeks off. One thing, though, that really snuck up on me that I didn't realize was so, just jaw-dropping was Arch Manning and Marcel Reed had actually about the same stats coming into this game, and the Texas defense forced Marcel Reed to play like those statistics, because everyone says that Arch Manning's terrible this season. Arch Manning's terrible. Everyone says Marcel Reed's good. They've got the same stats, and what happened? Marcel Reed faced a tougher defense than he probably has all season, and that forced him to make more mistakes, and Arch Manning didn't make as many mistakes, and that's how Texas won this game. Their defense forced Marcel Reed to get into uncomfortable situations, and I think it was also compiled with Marcel Reed kind of tweaked his ankle, had to go on the sidelines, get that fixed up, and he just didn't really seem all that confident running the ball, scrambling from that point on in the game, which allowed Texas to just put on the gas and win this game. I really don't want to say that Texas A&M got exposed, because I think the Texas defense overall, it's very good. It's playoff caliber, but the quarterback play from Marcel Reed when the run is not there, it's very subpar. And what do I mean by that? When he can't scramble from this injury, when he can't run and get extra yardage, he's just an average quarterback, subpar when throwing. But I know the injury won't be the case for the future, but I still think that this was a glaring weakness that other teams are going to try and exploit in the college football playoffs if Texas A&M makes it, which they definitely should and will. So Texas beats Texas A&M 27-17. And it has been a while since Texas A&M has beaten Texas. So just wild for you. But that takes us all the way to the game. And what game am I talking about? I'm talking about the game, Michigan and Ohio State. Ohio State beats Michigan 27-9. They finally break the 4-year losing streak against Michigan. It's been a monkey on Ryan Day's back, and Ryan Day just got another hump to get over that should just help his legacy, help his recruiting. And a lot of people, aka Michigan fans, said that they would lose, but this is a great win, great way to cap off the Ohio State season for them. And one thing I learned from this that I kind of have already learned, but I didn't want to go too far into it, but now I'm just jumping into it. Michigan needs to get rid of Jerome Moore, get him out of East Lansing. He's not going to win them anything, and he certainly isn't going to be able to utilize the full skill capability that Bryce Underwood has as the Michigan Wolverines starting quarterback. It is just a true statement. They are not capable of opening up the entire playbook for Bryce Underwood. Bryce Underwood is I don't want to say generational yet, because we don't know the extent of how good he can be, because this Michigan team led by Coach Jerome Moore will not be able to fully unlock his full potential. And sorry to say it, get out of East Lansing. Michigan fans should not be happy or content with this coach. And then I also said coming into this game that I thought that Julian Sayin, Bryce Underwood would give us a fireworks show, that we could see potentially the next 3 years great matchups between Michigan and Ohio State. But Julian Sayin showed us that he is by far, in a way, the better of the two quarterbacks in between these two teams. And for the rivalry moving forward, it is Ohio State's, game to win. It's also their game to lose. Julian Sayin just looks great. He is a perfect complement to this Ohio State team, and he's got all the weapons he needs around him to show up and show out, and that's what he's done all season. And it's no shock here that Ohio State was able to get it done in very sound fashion. So great game, great win for Ohio State fans. And then Vanderbilt in Tennessee. Number 14 Vanderbilt beats number 19 Tennessee 45-24. And I think for Tennessee fans, before they get too wild, saying, "Oh my gosh, Vanderbilt beat us, that's the first time in ever," I think. But Tennessee fans, they need to sit back and tell themselves that their quarterback left at the beginning of the season. We knew it wasn't going to be the prettiest season for Tennessee, and I don't think that they should be worried about anything. Josh Heupel's a great coach. He did some great things with Joey Aguilar and showed that it doesn't matter what players are around him. He's going to be able to put together a game plan to at least keep you in contention in the SEC. Excuse me. And because of that, I don't think Tennessee fans should be, jumping off the deep end yet or going crazy about anything. This is a great Vanderbilt team that you just might have to deal with in the future. Sorry to say that, Tennessee fans. But for Vanderbilt, they are here. Clark Lee signed a 6-year extension, and it seems like they are now a threat in the ACC or SEC, and have only helped the case that the SEC is the deepest conference in America. But Diego Pavia has done something I didn't think really anyone could. And what is that? He has made Vanderbilt football cool. This guy has brought swagger to the program. He has helped Clark Lee build a culture surrounded by a winning mentality, a dog mentality. And I think that Diego Pavia could have been the catalyst, along with Clark Lee, for Vanderbilt football actually being on the map. They've got everything there that they need. They've got a big city to back them. They've got a lot of celebrities there. They can be the next showboat of the SEC, if I'm going to be honest. They have the ability to make Vanderbilt football cool and attract young, impressionable athletes to also join the Vanderbilt cult. So Vanderbilt beats Tennessee 45-24. And that wraps up our impact games of the week. We now go to our week 14 notable games under review. First one, I'm going to go out and say I did not think Navy would beat Memphis 28-17. I thought Memphis had Navy's number. The past repeats itself, and I thought that this Memphis offense was going to be too much for Navy, but Navy gets it done. They secure a spot in the American Athletic Conference. The biggest question, though, for Navy is, will the College Football Playoff Committee, if they win the American Athletic Conference, do they wait to give the final playoff format after the Army-Navy game or not? It's an interesting question because I know it was thrown up in the air last season, and I believe they said they would wait until after the Army-Navy game. So it'll be interesting if that, in fact, happens. And then number 25, Arizona beats number 20, Arizona State, 23-7. Arizona just in control of this game. Arizona State, their season has fizzled out. The loss of Cam Scatterbo from the draft, as well as Sam Leavitt really just having an inconsistent health-wise season, is what led Arizona State to this 8-4 record. They miss out on the Big 12 championship. They just never really had the it factor that they had last season, but I think Kenny Dillingham is still going to bring a consistent culture and a consistent winning culture to Arizona State. So I don't think that they're going to ride silently into the night, but this was definitely a down year for them after what they were able to achieve last season. And then number 12, Miami beats number 22, Pittsburgh, 38-7. And this was a big win for Miami. This was big not only in the sense that they're 10-2, and not only in the sense they beat another ranked team, but who also beat this team was Notre Dame, who, when Pitt was also ranked. But the biggest difference about this win for Miami against Pitt over Notre Dame against Pitt is Miami won in a bigger margin. This is just another way that they are trying to inch and knock away at the Notre Dame bias and say that Miami should be in over Notre Dame. And I'm going to agree. Miami should be in over Notre Dame. You know why? Because games matter. Games should matter, and Miami should be in because they beat Notre Dame. It doesn't matter if it was week 1 or week 12. It's still in the regular season. This isn't, a beauty pageant. This is black and white, who won, who lost. Miami, with the same record, beat Notre Dame. Doesn't matter if it was week 1 or week 14. They beat them. They should be ahead of them. End of discussion. So after that, number 6, Oregon just handles business against Washington, 26-14. Nothing really of note here. Oregon and Dante Moore, since the Indiana game, really have not looked back since that game. And they look like that they could be a serious threat in the playoffs, though I think that they are more of a lightning in a bottle type of team where they can come at you really fast, but if they don't, and their game is kind of slowed down and they actually have to face a defense, then they are going to struggle in the playoffs. But if they can score on you in rapid succession in the playoffs for a quarter, I think you're very much in trouble as whoever they face. And then the Iron Bowl, number 10, Alabama beats Auburn 27-20. And oh my gosh, when I tell you that this game should not have been this close, it just shouldn't have been this close. But that's what the Iron Bowl does. It creates close games. Auburn fans love nothing more than to ruin a great Alabama season. This game came down to the fourth quarter. It came down to the last 2 minutes. Kalen DeBoer had the balls to go for it on 4th and 2 to go up by a touchdown against Auburn. And a lot of people want to say that this rivalry is very close. And I think it is close in games because of how many one-possession games are decided in this Iron Bowl is insane. But this is now the 6th year Alabama has won the Iron Bowl. And this game was just insane. Auburn now hiring Alex Golish. It's going to make the rivalry even more interesting because I think that he is a coach that can fit within that program. So Alabama wins the Iron Bowl. Roll Tide. Now, our second slate of notable Week 14 games under review. Oh, and also Alabama does clinch for the SEC Championship game. But Clemson beats South Carolina 28-14. And I have this as a notable game because Clemson has been on a, I believe, 4-game winning streak. They were in the dumps, and now they're back into a bowl game, which is now the 22nd year in a row they have made a bowl game. I don't think Dabo Swinney fully saved his image from the fan base right now, but I definitely think he saved a lot of, things could have gone a lot worse if they didn't make a bowl game and at least went 7-4. It's not the end of the world. It's a 7-4 season. That's what they were used to before he showed up. But South Carolina, their season just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. I don't know how Shane Beamer is. I really would like to see how he bounces back next year from this season. And I think after that, I will then be able to discern for myself whether or not I think he's a good coach, whether or not I like him, or whether or not he has what it takes to be a coach in the SEC. And then our next game, number 8, Oklahoma barely sneaks by a win against LSU. This game was just an ugly one. Oklahoma honestly looked like they wanted to lose the game, but clutched it up. And LSU, mediocre season, but do not worry, LSU fans, as the Lane train will be arriving soon. Oklahoma caps off a great regular season for them. They should be making the playoffs. I believe they have a 99% chance after their win against LSU. So Oklahoma doing what they needed to do and will probably make the playoffs after having one of the more tougher schedules in the nation. And then one team that made a statement before the college football playoff poll is James Madison, as they beat Coastal Carolina 59-10. James Madison now 11-1. Their only loss to Louisville by 1 point. I think that if Duke wins the ACC Championship game, James Madison will surpass Duke in that championship match, in that conference championship matchup. And James Madison will be the second group of 5 team in the college football playoff. And then SMU gets upset by California. California beats them 38-35 over 21 SMU. California having a wild season. They fired their coach, and I believe 2 weeks ago. And Cal was up in this game, and then SMU comes all the way back, misses a game-tying field goal. The past repeats itself this season. SMU and their field goal woes could not escape them. And so because of that, they lose this game, and they lose the chance to go to the ACC Championship. How sad, how sad, how sad. I said it all season. SMU was frauds coming into the season. And how'd they end up? 8-4. Thank you very much. And then our last game under review from Week 14, Duke bullies Wake Forest and wins 45-17. Duke in the ACC Championship. How does it work? How did they do it? It's insane. It's honestly insane that Duke was able to cap this off. Darian Mensah really just played lights out this game, and I don't think I would have believed you at the beginning of the season that Duke would have made the ACC Championship game. But golf claps for them, because they just may ruin the ACC's chance of actually getting someone in the college football playoff. So that wraps up our notable games of the week and some the news that we've already discussed or brought up, but I will go into it more. First one is Lane Kiffin is headed to LSU, and this breakup with Ole Miss is getting very ugly. He announced this, I believe, in the middle of the night, that he was going to take the LSU job. And what this means is there's the discussion in the air of, is he going to coach for the college football playoff? I think that the athletic director should have put his foot down very staunchly and gotten Lane Kiffin out of there whenever he took the new LSU job. For Lane Kiffin, in better judgment, I was hoping he would have stayed at Ole Miss. I felt like he was a better fit at Ole Miss, but I kind of knew from College Game Day when Nick Saban mentioned something, almost like it was a formality, that Lane Kiffin was leaving. I kind of felt like Lane was going to LSU. I really wish he would have stayed. But when we just look at Lane Kiffin's track record, he's done this everywhere he's gone. He did that when he was an OC at Alabama for FAU. He did that when he left Tennessee for USC. I mean, the dude does it on a constant basis. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife, as one reporter told Lane Kiffin. But Lane is going to Baton Rouge, and it'll be interesting to see how he fits in that culture. I think he will fit. I just don't know if LSU... I feel like LSU has to bite the bullet on this one. They really have to sit with him, and if he doesn't make the playoffs in the next 4 years, then maybe LSU's dynasty, or at least the aura around it, is gone. But Lane Kiffin heading to LSU. And then Auburn hiring Alex Golesh. I think this is actually a great hire for Auburn. I think this is the best one that could have fit for them. He is a guy that brought USF from nothing. Auburn right now is nothing. And I think that he instills a sense of grit that Hugh Freeze never could have in the Auburn program. And I think Alex Golesh has the youth in him to, light up and reinvigorate this Auburn team, this Auburn fan base. And I think that he will be one, when we look back, that Auburn says, we finally found a long-standing coach. And I think they should have a long-standing coach after the inconsistency that they have had since Nick Saban has been the head coach at Alabama. Just get it through your brain, Auburn fans. You have to play Alabama every year. Don't base your coaching decision off of that game, because I know you have to play Georgia too. Just suck it up. Just suck it up. You have to play two of the best teams in the nation. Don't kick Alex Golesh out just because he can't beat them. So here are my takeaways from the week. First is Diego Pavia deserves a spot for the Heisman ceremony in New York. No debate, no question about it, no arguing. I think he deserves to be there. And then I think Duke, if they win the ACC, would be one of the funniest things to happen this season. And I think we could see the first time a Power 4 conference doesn't make the 12-team playoff. And then this is just a PSA to athletic directors. For college football, these athletic directors really need to get their act together and stop letting these coaches walk all over them and actually have some balls to set standards, draw a line in the sand where morals shouldn't be crossed. Lane Kiffin, if you want the LSU job, bye-bye. Go take that job. Do not sit here and dilly-dally and go, oh, please, Lane, coach, but please stay, but we're not going to let you coach. No, if he's going to take another job, kick him out of there. Get him out. He doesn't deserve to continue coaching the team if he's just going to poach everyone for a different program. Why would you let him finish out the season, let him have the ability to win more games and get a better contract from someone else? It doesn't make any sense. These athletic directors need to actually just honestly think too before they hire someone. But it's getting ridiculous. And then Ohio State, I think right now, really, if they win the national championship, obviously this will be in a discussion, but I think if they at least make it to the semifinals, Ohio State has a chance to become kind of the next dynasty in college football for the next decade with Ryan Day. He's young. He's got this team going where he wants. It seems like as soon as he won the national championship, he got over the hump of everything. He doesn't really care anymore about at least what the world thinks of him. So he's going to leave it all on the table. And I think Ohio State capped off a great season. And then for Texas, I watched the Texas game. Steve Sarkisian saying Texas deserves to be in the college football playoff. And I would have agree if you didn't lose to Georgia, if you didn't lose to Florida, if you didn't lose to Ohio State, which makes up 3 losses. Yes, Georgia, number 4 in the nation. That's a tough loss. Ohio State, number 1 team in the nation. Tough loss, I understand. You only lost by 1 possession. But losing to Florida, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. You may be a great team, but the games matter, and they should matter. And because of that, you should not be in the college playoff. your losses are too bad to make up for your good wins. Because let's be honest, you made it into the playoffs last season off of an easy schedule. You got to suck it up and take your losses and just be losers for once, Texas. This isn't the Big 12. You can walk in here and own the conference. This is the SEC. And then for the playoff in general, I just want to give a PSA about this. Last year, it was 3 loss teams that were not able to make the playoffs. This year, there are multiple 2-loss teams that will probably not make the playoffs. But guess what? There will always be someone that should have been in that was left out. But too bad, too sad. That's how the world works. Not everyone can get in, which is why I don't like the discussion of another playoff expansion, because there's always going to be teams that should get in that didn't. When we get to the 16-team playoff, if they do that, there's going to be someone that's 17 and 18 and be like, oh, they really should have been in it. No, they shouldn't have. They weren't in the playoffs. Therefore, they shouldn't be in the playoffs if they are not one of those top teams. It's a story as old as time with the AP poll and the coaches poll choosing the national champion. With the BCS, there wasn't, there should have been this team in there. The third team got snubbed. With the 4-team playoff, there was like, the last 2 would have been really good teams and they should have been in. There's always someone that's going to have their feelings hurt. There's always going to be someone that should have got in that didn't. But guess what? Maybe you should have won your games during the regular season and gotten in that way instead of having the eye test or their player got injured. Just win your games. Just win your games and get in the playoffs. It's that easy. So that's my PSA to every college football fan before we hit the college football playoff selection committee show after these games play for the conference championships. And then here are our closing categories. The good, I'm giving the good to Ohio State and their dominant 12-0 regular season record, capped off by beating Michigan. Ohio State just had a classic number one team in the nation season. You beat up everyone. They didn't play the easiest or the hardest schedule, but they still beat everyone to a pulp. They still commanded their regular season, and that's just got to be good as an Ohio State fan. It's got to be good for all the coaching staff, but I'm also I don't like Ohio State, but I'm going to admit, good on you, Ohio State, for having a great regular season as the number one team in the nation and never flinching or looking back. And then the bad is Texas A&M hasn't beaten Texas in over 5,000 days. That is a record that I definitely don't want to hold a record to, but it's just bad. It's just bad for Texas A&M fans. They thought this was their season. They thought they could get it done. They thought they were going undefeated to the SEC Championship, but oh no, Big Brother Texas came in, stopped you, and it's been over 5,000 days since Texas A&M has beaten Texas. And then the ugly is this Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin breakup. I mean, Lane Kiffin is out here threatening to take the entire offensive staff if they don't let him play in the playoffs. It's just it's an ugly breakup. It is really just getting sad, pathetic, and unprofessional. Lane Kiffin, you're taking another job. Go take that job and win a national championship. You had the opportunity to play in the college football playoff, but you squandered it by getting another job offer. And then our player of the week goes to one of my favorite players that I love to say, and that is quarterback Jaron Kawe Sagapula-Tele, SMU at California. He's our player of the week. He had 31 for 30 catching attempts, 330 pass yards, 0 interceptions, and 4 touchdowns to beat number 21 SMU. Sagapula-Tele, you're the man. You're player of the week, week 14, our last regular season player of the week. And then the under review archives, I think this SMU Cal game might just be going in our archives because of how wild the comeback was from SMU and the heartbreak at the end. So that wraps up our week 14 recap, aka rivalry week. This next Thursday, you can be ready for us to go over all of the conference championship matchups. Yes, including the group of 5. So that includes, for Conference USA, Kennesaw State at Jacksonville, facing Jacksonville State. Sunbelt Conference, Troy playing James Madison. The American Athletic Conference, North Texas against Tulane. Mountain West Championship game, UNLV against Boise State as of now. And then for SEC Championship, Georgia against Alabama. The Big 12 Championship, BYU against Texas Tech. The MAC Championship game, Miami of Ohio and Western Michigan. The Big 10 Championship, Indiana and Ohio State. And then the ACC Championship, Duke against Virginia. I'm Nick Watts. Thank all of you for tuning in for College Football Under Review. And we'll see you next time when we take the College Football Conference Championships under review, because the regular season is over. Everyone, have a great day, and we'll see you next time when we take more college football under review.